about it, had that shit in chicken boxes. 10 ball, 25K, 50,000. I'm with the fiends, slapping all the back, project house. I get lonely sitting at the top, niggas down it. I should drink, baby pop 2 yachts, we too toxic. 60 piece, really had to move, I'm play toxic. 700, be too orthodox, Kanye sponsor.
Why you want to see my new dance?
I ain't tell him shit, call my mom. We're playing street games, you know. Hey, with your man's
What? That's the dribble. Ha! Yeah. All right. Shout out to Babyface Ray. You know what I mean? Yeah, AKA Babyface Ray. A little Dirk, Wonderful Wayne, and Jackie Boy. That is the cut right there. That is the cut. What's the word I'm looking for? What's the word? Come on, y'all, give me the word. You know, the FBI disclaimer. I read it. Fair use, fair use, fair use. We were just checking out the song for entertainment purposes. Oops. And let's see. Now let's jump right into this here. And we could always tweak it, but like, let's just say if we roll in there. So we want to talk to y'all about some giants, man. So yeah, I want to talk to you about giants and aliens, bro. Giants and aliens. That just seems like to be the things, bro, for me. Giants and aliens is a really important topic there. I like to show some things to y'all. Y'all familiar with like synchronicities, stuff like that. And this is not cap. I like the way my mom says synchronicity. She'd be like synchronicity. I'm like, yeah, like she's saying sequence. Y'all know how we talk? Synchronicity. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what's up. Yeah, it's not cap. It's like, it's just love. Like, yeah, that's how we sound. I love how we sound. I love us. All right, so check it out. So now you got giants. Oh, first, back it up. Back it up. Why you see the headband on? This is Ninja Wednesdays. That's why. Ninja Wednesdays. You know, when we get better effects, you'll have like the ninja man running across doing the karate chop. Look at the crane kid. Let me get in the camera. Crane kid, where am I in the camera? Just don't let no real MMA fighter see you doing that crap, because he'll the clip, clip, clap. Right? Put you in the clip, clip, clack. What? Yeah. All right, back to it. Giants and aliens. So check this out. So the reason why I brought up synchronicity is because the universe talks to us, right? I call this thing flow motion. A lot of people call it going into flow. And I don't know if you heard of the great psychologist Carl Jung. He talks about it, spelled J-U-N-G, and he calls it synchronicity. And basically what he's saying is there's no such thing as no like coincidences or any two random events. It's actually a synchronicity is defined as two random events that actually have a purpose, and they seem random, but they're actually not. So that's pretty important to know. Why did I bring that up? Because this is how aliens and giants talk to us, all right? This is how the ancient beings, and this is how God talks to us, right? So some people may say the universe, some people may say Anunnaki, some people may say, Jesus and God and these other terms, Brahma, Vishnu, and Muhammad, Allah. But when we're talking about spiritual realm and metaphysical realm, and outside from like the things we can touch, this 3D realm that we see, feel, hear, taste, sense, right? There's another level. There's a whole completely another level, and that is like it's basically the mother nature combined with like the stars, right? You use like literally the stars, where you see cosmos and stuff like that. And we used to do this all the time in ancient times. Like this is where you get astronomy from and astrology. Right, so they would study the stars, the planet alignments, the moons talking to you. A blood red moon means something, right? The blood red moon is like, the gods, the universe telling you, there's blood on the horizon, or don't go sailing. See, that's something that people who were sailors back in the day knew. Before we had all this technology, they would know to pay attention to the moon, because the moon, if it was a certain red moon, don't go sailing that night, or go sailing that night. It just depends on which side of the planet you're on, whatever you were, whatever you believed in, whatever your custom and oral tradition was. But this, believe it or not, got people to survive longer and more useful lives. Now, this is also, you ever heard about Indians, people doing rain dances and stuff like that, where they would go do rain dances and make it rain, or do things to appease the gods because they're in a drought and they need to make it rain. And so, even some really, really dedicated cultures in antiquity, they would actually go sacrifice someone. Someone would actually volunteer to sacrifice themselves, because it would have to be every X amount of years, 25, every 70 years, whatever. Sometimes the gods would give, you have to give them a sacrifice to prove, but then that person's blood would be shed right into the earth, and and they would bury them or burn them, however they disposed of their carcass, and from then they would be blessed with good crops and good. If they went to war with other tribes, they would win. So in fortune and etc. Anyway, we've gotten away from that, but there's a lot that's starting to come back now. All right, that's coming back because there's some theories, and there's also some prophecies. All right. For those of you who don't know, prophecy is something that is based off of almost like a prediction, but not necessarily that. It's actually a promise, right? So those of you familiar with the Anunnaki, for the most part, they had connections with some of the Dogon tribe and all, the entire Earth, right? So first of all, the entire Earth, there wasn't just Anunnaki wasn't just subject to one tribe. Obviously, they're superior beings. They actually were working with all of us. All right. And so, this is where you get the stories, like Grecian stories from, like the Greek mythology, like Prometheus, for example. All right. So Prometheus was the one who gave man fire, and the god Zeus didn't want man to have fire because he wanted it to, he wanted nature and other beings to have the advantage over mankind. So Prometheus, according to the story, went behind Zeus's back, snuck fire out to man, and then that gave us basically technology, because with the fire, that took us out of the Dark Ages. Does that make sense there? So, when you understand that Anunnaki, when you start to take these Greek mythologies, and you take Egyptology, and you take even angels and demons, and there's even giants are all in the Bible, in the Christian Bible, they're all in there. And then even when you go into Hinduism and you see all these wars, and they were like these nuclear bombs that they were using, and it was just like, how are they able to do that? When you talk about Krishna warring with other different deities, that was them. Those were the ancient alien race. Well, here's what it is. Fast forward into today, all right, a lot of them did get killed off. It would be just like how there's no more, like, you remember how Alexander the Great ruled and took a good portion of the earth, and Genghis Khan, but who's in power today? None of them are in that type of power, right? Genghis Khan was over there in the Turk, Mongol area there, right? Over by Mongolia, by Mongolia and Turkey, Kazakhstan. Well, they're not the powerhouses right now today, right? Some parts of Asia now, you still have China, yes, and some other places are coming up, but it's not like how it was back then, where they just walked around and dominated, all right? So even when you get into Genghis Khan, you might see that he might be connected to a giant, or have some offspring with a giant alien. And the reason why I say giant alien is because their DNA is different. And so their DNA would be like of something that's similar to ours, but then not like ours. You know how like all of us have pretty much the same DNA code? I mean, like even, there's not much difference between a white person, a black person, a Latin person, a Hispanic person, I'm sorry. There's not much difference. Asian, etc. Like we're very similar as far as DNA, right? Double helix, XY, XXY chromosome, all that stuff, right? Well, with them, there's a significant difference. So it's like they're saying that they created us. And so they took some of their DNA and found a way, and maybe fused it with a couple different animals, a couple different beings, however they came out with us. And so that's why we have similarities to them, but they still, basically they did the best they could with, we were supposed to be like a slave race in a way. So that's what they did for us. They needed something smarter than monkeys running around and to mine gold and to do a whole bunch of other things as well, right? Now, you say the word slave race, but it's not like that was all the intent for all of them. Remember, there was those like Prometheus who was like, man, I want to hook mankind up. I see them getting jacked up and they're not able to eat. They're in caves and blah, blah, blah. That's why he snuck his fire. And actually Prometheus got a heck of a penalty for that. For the rest of his life, he's supposed to get his liver eaten by a bird while he lives, and then the next day his liver regenerates, and then that bird eats his liver again while he's alive. So, I mean, that's pretty harsh penalty, and he did all that for mankind. Now, I said all that to say this, right? So this is what happens, though. They talk to us, right? If you pay attention to the universe, why is this important? Why do you want to know this, right? Why is this information important? You're like, why? Because this will unlock the secrets, not just to the universe, but for you getting fortune, getting all the answers to why you're here. If you even simple as, should I marry this person? They even help you with, can you help this person fall in love with me? I mean, there's things that they do for you. Right now, we're not going to get too far ahead there, but there are things that if you do happen to have a pretty good relationship with them, you know, a lot of people, now, I'm not one of those ones who am like the sage with all that. I can just tell you that much, because the way it goes is when you start dealing ones, the higher up you go, what happens? The less they're going to be like, you know, rub a genie, make a wish, and I'll just come here to grant you. It's not like how the movie Aladdin goes, where now they do have the power as genies. Okay, now this is where it gets interesting. They do have the power as genies, like the movie Aladdin. Difference is they're not here to kiss your ass, like the movie Aladdin. Okay, so if they ever do things for you, it's out of the goodness of their heart, they're compassionate. However it goes, the point is they don't have to though. Okay, they're not doing it because like they're worried about you giving them a like or subscribe, share, subscribe. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. But with all that in mind, they are here for the goodness of humanity. All right, and that's why I said that, because there was a lot of things that there was a lot of true things about the ones of the past, okay? But the ones who came back, the ones who are here today, that's the point I was getting at. The ones who survived, the ones who are, they're just like most people who are alive today, right? I'm talking about the people of the ruling class, but also of that righteous, of that nice, you know what I mean? Of the good, you know, just like an average Samaritan like you and I, where we would, you know, we really do want the environment to do well. We may not necessarily go and like participate in all these things for the environment, but we do want the world to do better. We do wish that there was a cure for world poverty and world hunger, but it's not like we have the means and resources to be able to make it happen. But the point is we do want to do well, and we wish everyone else well, right? Well, that's kind of how it is today. They're very similar to us. They want the world to do well. They want you and I to do well. But they want themselves to do well as well, right? So they are looking about making sure that their species is taken care of. But for whatever reason, they do have a vested interest in mankind. From what I've noticed, there is something about mankind. They're very like, I can tell you this based on the synchronicities that I see, things that they share with me. So it doesn't work like this, right? It doesn't work like they just sit down and say, you know, Andreas, you know, go say this, go say that, go do this, go do that, all right? And even if it is, sometimes not clear, because sometimes you might think it's your own thoughts. You're like, is it me? Is it that? So you have conversations with yourself. You don't realize what's going on. However, what will happen, there'll be synchronicities. That was what we're talking about, right? So meaning you'll start thinking about, man, I really should maybe volunteer at the veterinarian and, you know, help out some dogs and cats, stray dogs and cats for maybe a day or so. You know what I mean? It's my New Year's resolution. I just want to volunteer one time, you know, for at least 8 hours, and I'll go volunteer at the local veterinary, help out some stray dogs and stray cats. Yeah? And so that's how it'll start. You have a thought, and you'll have a hunch to want to do that. Then a couple days, maybe a couple weeks go by, you see something on a billboard on the TV, and you just say, veterinarian, you know, come register your time today. You'll make a difference. And then you're like, huh, interesting. I didn't tell anyone about that, but I thought that. And it's like, that's weird. I just thought, you know, I thought that. Then you'll get a text on your phone or a push alert, or maybe it's an advertisement and you happen to watch, watching things about giant aliens or whatnot on the YouTube or whatever social media site you're using. And then all of a sudden you'll see things about volunteer time. And you're like, wow, I've never seen so many freaking commercials or advertisements or ever things saying volunteer time. That's how they talk to you. All right, there'll be multiple different ways. In fact, I actually 4 different ways that they use to us, right? Because I actually studied this. They'll use earth or nature, okay? They'll use human beings, like some of us. So someone else, a friend of yours might just say, dude, you ever thought about volunteering? Or not even them, you. They'll say, you know what? I was thinking about volunteering. But maybe they thought about volunteering to the children's hospital. So it may not be a direct line, but they were thinking about volunteering. So it's like, you got to be able to piece some of this together here. And you're like, interesting, that's crazy, because I was thinking about volunteering to the local veterinarian. Like, really? No way. Like, yeah, I'm telling you. So then, so they use nature, like I said, human beings, okay, technology. Technology is a big one. Technology is, you'll get texts and stuff like that. And then airwaves, like thoughts. Like you just get these random thoughts that you and I think are random, but they're not. Now, when I said nature, I didn't break that down. You'll see a stray cat walk up to you that day or something like that, meow, meow, or, within that time frame, and it'll make you think like, dang, I really should volunteer. And you know what you do? You say, and you do the next best thing. You go buy some cat food, and then you have it on hand. So next time that cat walks up to me, I'm going to feed it. You see what I mean? And so, and that ties into that thought that you had. You see how it goes? So this is how they kind of talk to us there. I said all that to say, so I subscribe to, messages from a service there that is just positive affirmations. And before I shot this video, look, this is the message I got today. Right as I was getting ready for this video, I choose to stop worrying about my looks because I am beautiful. Now it's like, I get positive affirmations, a couple of these throughout the day. This is the first time I think I got something down the way I looked. And I kid you not, I debated like whether I should wear, is it Ninja Wednesday? I was like, I'm gonna wear the headband. I was going between this. And then I got this push alert, okay, that's seemingly random, okay, but this is from God, the universe, source, who I say are likened to aliens, giants, and Anunnaki beings, all right? Now, fantastic. So now that we got that covered, what we're gonna do, we're gonna close this out as our first video here, because it's a great point to segue into some other stuff. I don't want to get this too lengthy there. So go ahead and hit like, share, subscribe. If you're feeling this kind of content there, go ahead, check your boy out. Share, subscribe, like it, and I'll see you on the next one, y'all.